A very good morning, everyone. So, today, as we are continuing our series of previous year questions of UPSC CSE 2025 exam, so we are looking after to the General Studies paper 1. And so, moving on, as we look into the question number 4, as we can see here, how are climate change and sea level rise affecting the very existence of many island nations? Discuss with examples. So, basically, the question is asking about the climate change and about why, the effect because of the sea level rising. So as we know, before I get into the answer directly, the basics would be we had seen so many countries which are island nations, and island nations main income source is like they collect remittances, or either whether it is remittances or whether it is from the tourism. So mostly the majority of the island nations are getting revenue. They have the revenue model of the tourism, and if sea level will rise, then it will affect directly to their tourism sector, and it will decrease the number of tourists, and which will affect their revenue model. So let's get into it. So climate change has led to a rise in global temperatures, causing the melting of glaciers and polar ice caps, as well as the thermal expansion of seawater. As a result, sea levels are rising worldwide, posing a serious threat to many low-lying island nations. So this is the introduction. So as we can see, because of the climate change, the global temperatures are rising. Because of the temperature rise, the glaciers are melting by its own, and the polar ice caps also, they are having the thermal expansion of, which is which is contributing to the sea level rising, which is contributing the increase of water in the sea. So which is indirectly becoming a serious threat towards island nations. So moving on, as we see, so according to the IPCC 6th assessment report 2023, global sea levels have risen about 20 centimeter since 1900 and may rise up to 1.1 meters by 2100. So as we see, in the 19th century, it was there, since 19th century it was rise to 20 centimeters. So now it has been expected that it will rise to 1.1 meter by 21st century. So as per the report which was published by IPCC, so which is indirectly affecting the low lying island nations like Maldives, Tuvalu and Kiribati. So basically, moving on, we discuss about the impact of climate change and sea level rise, as the question is asking the main features. So we'll look after the four aspects: the social, economic, and afterward we'll see the environmental impact also, and we'll see the political and geopolitical aspects also. So let's start. So the social impact will be, it will it will lead to the loss of habitable land. When the sea level will rise, it will submerge the coastal settlements, the forcing the communities to relocate, which will also become a hazardous situation for so many people. It will affect their livelihood, it will affect their quality of living standards and everything. So as for example, we can see like Maldives, which has 80% of land area and less than 1 meter above sea level. So Maldives is the country we where we see the loss of habitable land. So Maldives land is already inside the water. So the next would be, it would be a threat to the freshwater resources, because seawater rise, which is indirectly implication, the implications would be like it will rise, the water level will rise in the salty form. The saltwater intrusion contaminates freshwater aquifers, leading to water scarcity. So we had seen so many places like Kiribati, where wells have become saline. The well water and everything is becoming saline and making potable water scarce, so which is leading to the drinking water scarcity also in these island nations. And the cultural displacement would be there, so there would be a fear of connection loss to the cultural roots and traveling livelihoods and towards the way of living. Also, the next point would be the health challenges we see because of the sea level rise. We see socially we are facing some health challenges. It will increase the prevalence of vector-borne diseases like malaria and diarrhea and all these things. So looking forward to the economic aspect, we'll see the economic aspect, where we'll be looking after the ocean acidification, which impacts the marine ecosystem, and it will impact the coral reefs, and which will affect the tourism, even to the fish also. So it will affect the fishermen's livelihood directly. And we can see there is a country called Fiji. So Fiji's tourism contribution is onto its country's GDP is 40%, and it was decreasing now, and it was, now it is threatening to their coral damages also. And because of that, their fishermen also, they are into, like, their demand is also decreasing. So moving on, we see the agriculture losses also. So rising salinity will reduce the crop productivity. Like in Tuvalu, the traditional crops like taro are increasingly failing because of the salinity into this crop productivity and all. And high adaptation costs will increase. The cost of adaptation will increase. Limited financial resources make climate resilience expensive. So these are the impact we face in economic aspects. As we look into the environmental aspects, we see the ecosystem degradation. So coral reefs, mangroves and fisheries are severely damaged, reducing biodiversity. Coral bleaching in the Great Barrier Reef also affects Pacific island fisheries. And increased natural disasters. So there would be an increase in natural disasters. Climate change intensifies cyclones and storms, which will surges, worsening coastal erosion. So, Cyclone Winston in 2016 caused damages worth over 20% in Fiji's GDP, which affected the GDP of Fiji. So, agricultural food security also will get affected by heat stress and change in soil moisture, evapotranspirations, and other extreme weather conditions will bring so many things which will affect the agriculture sector also, like the tropical cyclones, floods, and droughts, and all these things. And other geopolitical things which we look after, the impact of geopolitical, which is like loss of sovereignty. Like nations like Tuvalu become uninhabitable. Their statehood and maritime boundaries under UNCLOS may be challenged because of the sea level rising. It will the boundaries and the land will get degrade. The water will rise. So the climate refuges, large scale displacement can occur, can create political and humanitarian challenges to the nearby countries. The government of Kiribati has already purchased land in Fiji to relocate its citizens because of the sea level rising. And the next will be the climate injustice we are doing. Because of 1% of global emissions, island nations hold the least responsibility for the climate crisis, yet suffers from its worst impacts. Because the island nations don't have a role, they have not playing a major role like the western nations or the nations in Asia, or like, because of the emissions that we are doing through burning coals, emissions through vehicles, and all these things. But the impact is getting worsened to the island nations mostly. So mostly, as we see, the global measures which are taken for this, to curb it out, to decrease this impact, is like the Alliance of Small Island States, AOSIS, the Alliance of Small Island States, which is a intergovernmental organization which plays an integral role in carrying out advocacy for small island states and influencing international environmental policies. So basically, there are organizations which are playing an integral role to become an advocate for these island nation states, to stand for them, and to have their own expression in these environmental policies. And global conference on the sustainable development of small island developing states in 1994, Barbados Program of Action, which is also being known as, so addresses particular vulnerability of SIDS to small island developing states to climate change, climate variability, and sea level rise, which featured prominently. So small island developing states accelerated modalities of action, which is also known as Samoa pathway, which was adopted in 2014, aim to address the unique challenges faced by small island developing states, supporting the development through international cooperation and climate action. And there is one more, CDRI, which is also known as Coalition for Disaster Resilient Infrastructure, which was launched in 2019 under the leadership of the Government of India and with the support of United Nations, to boost infrastructure resilience to climate and disaster risk, promoting sustainable development. And the other point would be the India's assistance towards small island developing states. So basically, overall, India has committed a total of $70 million in project aid, and along with 350 million US dollars in concessional loans and credit lines to the small island developing states. While these nations have made significant efforts towards sustainable development and especially in combating this climate change. So this is what it is. And now as we see, so basically it link risk reduction with development and disaster management, coastal planning and healthcare, and collecting climate data, which will always help us, like this particular the vulnerable data for effective adaptation planning and global support needed due to high adaptation cost, and calls for sustainable development goals which will stimulate and reform for financial systems to help debt stressed nations. You use traditional knowledge and use of traditional knowledge and natural systems like blue carbon project and ecosystem restoration can be a policy which can be adopted, and other things like the expand wind, solar, geothermal and ocean energy to cut fossil fuel use. So basically small island developing states lighthouses initiatives aim for 10 gigawatt renewable capacity by 2030. So the conclusion we can write is like the rise in sea level or the climate change and sea level rise pose an existential threat to many island nations by causing land loss, freshwater scarcity, economic disruption, and displacement of people. Countries such as Maldives, Tuvalu, and Kiribati illustrate the urgent need for global action to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and support vulnerable communities in adapting to climate change. So this is what it is, and as we see, so this is about all about question number 4. So moving on to the next question, that is question number 5. What are non-farm primary activities? How are these activities related to physiographic features in India? Discuss with suitable examples. So the question is asking about the non-farm activities and its contribution towards our economy also, and it's about the physiographic features in India. Like how this becoming, like we have to write so many things about the challenges and about the physiographic features also which is affecting our non-primary activities of farm. So basically as we start, so non-farm primary activities refer to resource based occupations other than farming, such as fishing, mining, forestry and animal rearing. So basically non-farm primary activities are economic activities that involve the direct extraction or use of natural resources other than farming. So it is basically non-farm primary activities, which is also already signifies it is not a farming or complete farming. It's about the economic activities which is related to farming, which is like animal husbandry, fishing, forestry, mining and quarrying. So it is about the direct extraction or of use of natural resources. No. So, according to the Economic Survey 2024, these activities play a key role in rural livelihoods, especially where agriculture cannot also alone cannot sustain the population. So basically where agriculture won't be able to sustain the population, so this activity is becoming a source of livelihood, a source of opportunity for those people. So we see, we'll start with the non-farm activities. So non-farm primary activities include fishing, mining and quarrying, forestry, animal rearing and salt production. So basically as we see, the fishing is including the harvesting of fish from seas, rivers and lakes. Mining is talks about extracting minerals like coal, iron ore and bauxite. So forestry includes collecting timber, bamboo, medicinal plants and all. Animal rearing includes grazing sheep, goats, camels, yaks, and salt production includes the extraction of sea water and converting into a salt flats or salts. So now about the physiographic features, as we moving on, we see like the physiographic features includes it includes mostly through our Himalayan features. So basically the Himalayan mountainous region are there, where forestry, animal husbandry, lag cultivation, handicrafts and weaving becoming a main primary non-farm primary activities, through which is also becoming to support timber, medicinal plant collections in Western Ghat and Eastern Himalayas, and the yak rearing in Ladakh and transhumance by tribal groups like Gadis in Himachal Pradesh is practiced, and also supporting the forest fringes of Nagaland and other northeastern hills, which is about the lag cultivation and using of forest products by indigenous communities for handicrafts and weaving. So moving on, the inland fishing in river valleys and wetlands, which is a common fertile plain of Ganga Brahmaputra basin, which is also being known as the known for its inland fishing. And there are large lakes like Shilika in Odisha and Puliket in Andhra Pradesh, which is also famous for this. And also about the aquaculture, where fish and prawns are farming in floodplains and wetlands of West Bengal and Assam, and collection of river and resources, which is reeds, rushes, and other plants used for thatching and handicrafts. And other features include the plateaus, where we look after the mineral mining, stone quarrying, animal grazing, forest produce collection, etc. So basically the mineral mining, which also being known as the famous Chota Nagpur plateau, which is rich in coal, iron ore, mica and all, and the Karnataka Goa belts, which have iron ore deposits also, and about the granite and other stones from Deccan Plateau regions of Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu. Also, the rearing of sheep and goats on plateau grasslands, that is in parts of Madhya Pradesh and Maharashtra. And we see the collection of mahua flowers, tendu leaves used for beadi making, and bamboo in forested plateau areas, which is collected for as a forest produce collection from the plateaus. And we will look into the coastal region, where we see the marine fishing, which along India's vast coastline, states like Kerala, Gujarat, Tamil Nadu, and Gulf of Mannar of for pearl culture are key examples of marine fishing. Also, the salt production is a prominent feature in the coastal areas like Ran of Kutch in Gujarat, and the PC culture or the fish farming, which we see along sheltered coastal waters, estuaries, and backwaters, especially in Kerala and West Bengal, and the shellfish and seaweed collections, which are being carried out along the coastline of Tamil Nadu and Gujarat, and the boat making at net mending. So basically, the net mending is also an occupation which is linked to the fishing communities, and especially in states like Goa and Maharashtra, it is being seen. And the arid and semi-arid regions, where we see about these primary activities are including the camel and sheep rearing. Mostly, it is being seen in parts of Gujarat and in mostly in Rajasthan's desert area, and the collection of drought resistant plants and shrubs, which is used for fodder medicinal purposes by rural communities in the semi arid regions. So this is all about the non-farm primary activities. In the conclusion, we see the non-farm primary activities are directly dependent on natural resources and therefore vary according to physiographic conditions. Mountains support forestry and animal rearing, coastal areas encourage fishing, and mineral-rich plateaus promote mining. Thus, India's diverse physical features play a crucial role in determining the location and nature of non-farm primary activities. So this is all about question number 5. So moving on to the question number 6, which says explain briefly the ecological and economic benefits of solar energy generation in India with suitable examples. So basically, solar energy is a renewable source of energy which is being obtained from the sun and converted into electricity or heat using solar panels and related technologies. So India has immense potential for solar energy due to its tropical location and abundant sunshine throughout the year. Also, India ranks third in solar power capacity as per the statistics which was being of 2025 of IRENARE, with capacity of 1.8 gigawatt. Total solar energy potential stands at 748 gigawatt. By leveraging 300 plus sunny days annually, this clean and abundant energy source offers significant ecological and economic benefits for sustainable growth. So basically, we see there are so many benefits. We see the ecological benefits and the economic benefits. So we have to look into like this. So we'll see about the ecological benefits, which is we see the environmental impact will reduce. It will have very less impact as comparison to the fossil fuels. Like it will reduce the greenhouse gas emission. So solar power generation does not emit carbon dioxide, which is a very good thing, and other harmful gases during operation. And also it helps combat climate change and global warming. And the second thing which we see, that it will reduce air pollution. So it will have a very less impact on the air. It will not pollute that much the air. Like unlike the coal based thermal power plants, solar energy does not release smoke, ash or toxic pollutants, which will improve the air quality and public health as well. And the conserve natural resources. So solar energy reduces dependence on fossil fuels such as coal, petroleum and natural gas, which will further decrease our economical assistance towards all these natural resources, and it will also strengthen our economy, and it will promote sustainable use of resources as well. And it is a low water consumption format, where we see the solar power plants require much less water than conventional thermal power plants, helping it will help to conserve water resources as well. And we see the economic benefits, which is reducing the energy cost. So after installation, solar power has low operating and maintenance costs. It lowers electricity bills for households and industries. It creates employment. The solar sector generates jobs in manufacturing, installation, maintenance, and research. And it will also enhance energy security. Increased use of solar energy reduces dependence on imported fuels and strengthens India's energy dependence. Also, it supports the rural development. So solar powered irrigation pumps, street lights, and mini grids provide electricity to remote villages where grid connectivity is limited. So as we see, so Vadla Solar Park, which is world's largest solar parks, generating large amounts of clean electricity. Pavagada Solar Park, a major solar energy project contributing significantly to renewable energy generation. National Solar Mission, which promotes large scale adoption of solar energy across the country. So, this is all about, and there are some other points also which you can write it down about, like, in ecological and economic benefits. We can see about the biodiversity and land conservation, and no climate change, innovation of land use, and conservation of natural resources, like solar installation on canal tops, and floating solar plants in Kerala's Kayamukkalam project, and Gujarat's canal solar project also can be an efficient examples we can see. And other things about the conservation of natural resources, which I already told you. And the economic benefits also we can see about the energy security, which will also reduce the import dependency, industrial growth, and also further enhancing the employment generation. Like as an example, we can see the Charanka solar park in Gujarat has created thousands of local jobs also. And other things about the significant cost savings, no transmission laws, increase in property values as well, and boost to rural development as well. So there is a scheme of government of India, which is also being known as PM Kusum scheme, where 10 lakh solar pumps are being installed, reducing farmers in irrigation costs as well. And solar pumps and microgrids support rural electrification and agriculture, and it is boosting the agricultural income as well. So basically, in conclusion, I would say solar energy offers significant ecological benefits by reducing pollution and greenhouse gas emissions, while providing economic benefits such as lower energy costs, employment generation, and energy security. With projects like Vadra Solar Park and Pavagada Solar Park, India is moving toward a cleaner, more sustainable energy future. So, this is all about question number 6.